Now is the time.
Forever? Tangent. Hold.
Halt.
Hashtag always MGM.
You are approaching the unloading area.
Calm down. AK haters.
But what if it could?
Behold the
Disney
majesty of the
breeze.
Sistine Ceiling.
For the kids.
A salute to all theme parks, but mostly Walt Disney World.
Ha! What a cute ending.
Aloha and
Don't Dillo it.
This is Theme Park Thursday with Dillo's Diz. She is Jen.
Hello.
And I am Frank, and we are here, if you're listening to the audio, dropping here on April the 10th, 2025. Secretly, we're in the past, in the month of March, because we continue to be ahead of schedule.
It only took us 7 years. Look at us.
7 years, and we're just as confused as ever.
Yeah.
You think planning things out would help? And
No, it doesn't.
we have a great guest this week. Chris, aka DCLCruisingDad, is back with us after some time. He's had some awesome trips already in 2025. But I want to say that I want to talk briefly here before we bring Chris in about I have a package here. I'm gonna do like it's not an unboxing because I didn't want to rip the box on the audio.
All right.
So it's like an unpackaging.
Sure.
But it's cruising related.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Is this an announcement of some sort?
No, it'll be over in 2 seconds.
All right.
So we're not sponsored. Oh God, we're not sponsored by this product, but I do want to share. I have a flexible spending account. And I had an inordinate amount of money on it at the end of the period of time before I lost it. So I was discussing this in our one-channel Discord associated to DillosDizResort.com. Of like, do I finally do this? Because our friend Theme Park Rob did a little tryout of it and raved about it.
Yeah.
So I have the Relief Band.
Yeah. Nice.
The Relief Band Classic, which apparently will help you with all sorts of motion sickness, seasickness, any sort of dizziness, as it were.
Yeah.
This is not only will get Jen on the Velocicoaster and back on Cosmic Rewind someday. No.
I mean, not the Velocicoaster, maybe Cosmic Rewind.
But I'm hopeful that this will change my cruising life. Yeah.
I mean, can you imagine spending those first 2 days not feeling drugged up where you want to sleep all day? Can you imagine that life for yourself?
Wouldn't it be nice? Because I love cruising.
Yeah.
I love it. And I love the vibe. I love the food. I love the go to all the different places and do all the things.
Yeah.
But usually, my first day and a half are up to 2 days sometimes are miserable.
How do you think you're going to test it first?
On the cruise.
Oh, in August. Yeah. Well, I think you should test it before though.
Yeah. And to be clear, it's not a Disney cruise. This is another brand.
Still appreciate it. Appreciating it, but
we're Dilloing it right now, right here before your very eyes.
And I don't want to get too much on a tangent. We have Chris waiting here. But I am intrigued by this since we had this discussion last week, and I'm like, I probably need to look into this. And do I just need to wear it all the time at this point? Because we've discussed our highways on Long Island, getting off an exit sometimes. I'm like, oh, I feel really nauseous after that.
Oh, no.
And the 10-year-old in the beginning of the year, he had a field trip. And, parents can go if they want, but it was a fishing trip. Nope. I can't. I'm okay on the big boats. The little boats? No. And Mr. Snidillo went, and at one point he was like, we were just spinning in a circle. Like, absolutely not. But now he's going on an end of year trip, and he's doing a little cruise around Manhattan. And I'm like, oh man, that would be fun to go on. But nope, right now, like I can't do that. So we might have to. I'm gonna have to look into it.
What should I go to, like a local carnival and go on like the tilt-a-whirl? Like,
why don't you go on the Gravitron and really test it? I think you should go on the Staten Island Ferry, maybe.
Oh, I think I'll. Yeah, I mean, we'll discuss. I'll go down to Coney Island and go on the Cyclone and maybe try out a couple of rides. Maybe
Oh
I'll do it that way.
For the content.
For the content, of course. Stamp. But the relief band, we'll see. Stay tuned for more. But that is leading up towards a cruise on a different cruise line that
Yes.
will be on later this summer. But I thought that if this does work, our guest today, Chris, aka DCL Cruising Dad,
Yeah.
perhaps can give a little insight on the length of cruises, because he's been
Mhm.
he's been on a good one, a good
Yeah.
sized one that we're going to talk about, and then a nice petite.
Little baby one.
A little petite Disney cruise that
Yeah.
we'll also discuss here. So that's it. Without further ado, I don't want to make him wait any longer in our StreamYard green room. Here he is, DCL Cruising Dad himself. It's Chris. Chris, hello.
Hey guys, how you doing?
Good.
Welcome back.
Yay!
Thank you for having me again. I'm very excited.
We are excited to live vicariously through you for this next hour or so, and just be wishing we were on a cruise. First of all, we were talking via email, and you mentioned a cruise in February, a cruise in March, a cruise in August. I'm like, this is the life I want. These are goals.
Yes. The my daughter's school has certain breaks that really fit nicely for a quick little getaway. So the President's Day one in February, they actually have off the Friday and that Monday,
Okay.
and also for Labor Day. So it's perfect getaways for a quick little 3-nighter to kind of itch the cruising bug that develops through the longer periods.
Yeah, see, your school calendar probably allows for more of that than ours, because our President's Day is usually our winter break, which is like the whole week, which is sometimes why like a week-long Disney trip is out of the question, because everyone from up here is down there.
Yep.
And then we normally start school right around Labor Day. So we're like, oh man.
Yeah, growing up in Jersey, we did not have the best. I didn't understand spring and fall break and all that, but down here they do have it a little better. But we also start school, I think, the first week in August,
Oh,
and
yeah.
they're out maybe the around the 20th in May. So
Okay.
it took quite a while to adjusting, but the August weather here in Tennessee is hot, so
Yeah.
it's
Can't
not bad, but
Yeah.
it's took a while to get used to not really having seasons like we used to have in Jersey.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah, I mean, number one reason I sometimes say I moved back from Florida is autumn. Autumn
Yeah.
is the number one answer. But yeah, interesting out before Memorial Day, usually, where that Memorial Day weekend is often, a quick getaway time
Mhm.
too.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Chris, just in terms of you and your website at DCL Cruising Dad, I just thought maybe we kick things off, because it's been about a year and a half since you've been on the podcast. That just explain DCLCruisingDad.com, how you got started and what we can find over there just from the jump. Let's just intro it out.
Yeah, absolutely. The DCL Cruising Dad handle can be found on all the different social media platforms, and then the website itself. The idea came actually from my wife back in October, roughly, of 2022. We were going on our first trip on the Wish, and from our previous cruises, I had lots of to-do lists and very organized, and I enjoyed going on the different Facebook groups and answering all the questions that people posted. So at that time, my wife recommended kind of putting together a blog slash Q&A kind of website to help people to and save some of the questions and answers that I was providing people over the time. So at that time, I had no experience whatsoever developing a website. So I kind of dove into that. And then by March of 2023, the website was up and running. I continue to add to it based on every trip and stuff that comes out with Disney Cruise Line. I would say one of the best parts of the website is I love taking pictures of food before the DCL cruising, I was really a big foodie into doing taking photos of food and trying to make dishes at home and stuff like that. So I love taking photos of all the food that we eat on the cruise. So I now have a special menus page on the website that lists all the menus currently on the fleet for most of your nights. And if I've eaten it, I've taken a photo of it. Therefore, there is pictures of it there from over the years and most recently. So that's one of my little pride and joys on the website, besides the basic information about the ship and all the stuff that has to offer as far as the Broadway shows and some onboard activities.
No, that's awesome. And who doesn't want to see the food? I mean, that's especially when it comes to cruising, because sometimes different cruise lines can be uh the food range, the spectrum of foods on different lines can be vastly different. So yeah, everyone needs to see how it looks.
Well, yeah, I mean, especially if you're a foodie. But just briefly, before you really, was it always about the food on cruises, or do you like food in other places? Well, I mean, restaurants, sure, but are you like a carnival person? Are you what kind of food festival in your neighborhood person? Where do you?
Oh yes,
Yeah.
when they do the big we'll have a couple festivals a year where we'll have like 40 or 50, I call them grease trucks, but basically food trucks that come out. I love checking those out.
Mhm.
I love doing, I'm a big Google reviewer also. I think I'm level 8 out of level 10. I've done a ton of reviews on there, and I love going and taking photos and trying new places. And then your new places are replace your baseline places that you used to always go to. It was fun. After one of the sailings, we were flying home in I think we were getting breakfast or lunch at the airport, and my daughter Brooklyn's like, no, Daddy's at the bathroom. No one can eat their food yet until he comes back to take photos. So it's like a funny little unwritten rule, but I would say I pretty much love trying new cuisines. After moving to the South and falling in love with biscuits and grits and stuff like that that I didn't get to experience growing up. It's nice to venture out and try new stuff. I mean, that's one of the things that I love about the cruise. Every night, my kids have to try something new on the menu, whether it's they order something that they want to try or they eat something off of Sarah, my wife, or my plate.
Nice. That's awesome.
How do you think that would go for our kids?
No, it would. I mean, yours is a little more adventurous than mine, but not mine.
Something new, and it has to be seafood. No.
Yes.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Something that also sticks out in my brain, and I think it's probably because the last 5 years, like, what is time? And I don't understand anything, is when you say, after our first time on the Wish in 2022, I'm like, what? To me, the Wish is still so new. And I'm like, 2022? What do you mean?
She's growing up quickly.
Yeah,
She
right?
certainly is.
Oh my
That's
goodness.
fun. That's exactly my thought as well. When I was just quickly like perusing like what kind of things I wanted to ask about the Wish, which we'll get to in a little bit. But and the treasure was that what the Wish was 2022. What?
But
Crazy.
I was literally watching the news before with my mother-in-law, and it came up like 5 year, like a COVID 5 year anniversary or something. I
Wow.
was shocked. I was like, wow, time does go by quickly.
Right? Exactly. It's
Wow.
crazy.
Well, your most recent Disney cruise was if this is April 10th, but really we're recording maybe a week and a half after you've just returned from a week-long cruise on the Treasure, which had its maiden voyage in December of 2024. I was just like, first impressions out of the gate for you, or actually maybe on through the gate and on board. What were your instant impressions of the Disney Treasure?
It was stunning. I really loved the color palette of the Grand Hall, the blues, the greens, the golds. It was such a different change from some of the other ships, in particular couldn't compare it directly with the Wish, but it just felt cozy, homey. I even used the word therapeutic. Like I walked in and just was like, if there's a chair, I could just sit here and just stare at all the beautiful mosaics, the chandeliers, just stunning. Go and say hi to Aladdin and Jasmine and the flying carpet as the atrium statue. It really is gorgeous. I mean, the Disney Cruise Line has changed their atrium into a grand hall with the Wish class, and they really have put a lot of time and effort into making those just absolutely stunning. Even down to the carpet, where the the carpet in the grand hall has to do with some of the stairs and a waterfall leading into a fountain. It's just every little bit they thought and planned out.
Yeah, I feel like we talk a lot about all the little details in the parks a lot, how sometimes if you just sit in one spot, and you look around or look up or look in the windows, or especially in Animal Kingdom, you know, a lot of those queue lines or in the tree. But I think something we noticed being after our second time on the Fantasy, probably a little bit more, is like, oh, we really haven't like looked around at the details enough. And as I see pictures of some of the newer ships, I am seeing like there's definitely more details coming through now on these ships. So it's interesting. I mean, as you're saying, that it kind of stuck out to you right away.
Yeah, the Grand Hall has a lot of little um, hidden gems. There's a beautiful peacock that has, I think, like 53 feathers, just like the song in the movie.
Mhm.
If you look up at the chandelier, there's one large chandelier and then six smaller ones that all um, reflect the current Disney Cruise Line fleet. So each small chandelier has a little homage to each ship individually based on the atrium statue. Um, so little things just like that. Even the atrium statue itself, the flying carpet is pulling out a rose like it did when they're doing their song in the cartoon. So it really is a beautiful thing. And if you have that key eye to kind of look for all the little hidden gems.
Yeah, that's cool.
So this was a 7-night Western Caribbean, but this is we think we solve how to say it, and we do not.
No.
But
Yeah.
a 7-night out of Port Canaveral is
Mhm.
the more cruises you take. Do you find it your arrival, your boarding process to be less anxious? I guess is my question. Yeah.
Absolutely. I really do have it down to just a one-page Word document on kind of how when we cruise out of Port Canaveral, how to do it. We will always stay at the Hyatt at the airport at the at MCO. A couple reasons is I save on a transportation typically from the airport to your actual hotel.
Mhm.
And Disney Cruise Line offers ground transfers from the MCO Hyatt to Port Canaveral and back. Um, they've actually changed the way they do their check-in. I think it was towards the fall of 2023. At that time, you would kind of just get down around check-in time around 8:15, and first come, first serve. Hopefully, you get on the first bus with Mickey. Now, after that, they've changed the whole entire process where it's actually a larger check-in. So what you would typically do at the port is now done at the hotel. So all three of us or all four of us will go down with our passports, our Disney bands, Disney Magic bands, any documentation you need, and actually go through the whole check-in process based on our Castaway Club status. So your concierge and Pearl will start at a certain time and we'll go down the line all the way to first-time cruisers. That way, once you're checked in there, you get assigned a bus. I could put all that information away. And once I get to the port itself, I just have to show my boarding pass and to go through security. So I really like that they made that change. It does make everything a lot easier. Other pro tip I like about the Disney ground transfer is they will assign you a boarding time, a boarding group, and a port arrival time.
Mhm.
And typically, with using them, you will get a much earlier boarding group. So I've typically will be between 3 and 6.
Hmm.
So people that are first time or silver castaway that are checking in later than the earlier casted club members will get on the ship much earlier by using Disney Ground Transfer than just using their own check-in time. So it's a kind of little hidden treat to get on the ship earlier. And you leave your bags in the room. They'll come get them after 8 o'clock. You'll tag your bags with the Disney Cruise Line tag, leave a tip, and then they'll pick up the bags from your room and they will show up in your stateroom later that day.
Knowing you have
Yeah.
that option right from the airport is really
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
So, in your 7-night cruise, tell me about the ports first. What were where did you stop? Where did you go?
Yep. So the first port was Cozumel, Mexico.
Mm.
The second port was Georgetown, Grand Cayman, which is a tender port. So you take a big we go down a small boat to get to the port, and then the last one is Castaway. So one thing that I did not necessarily differently on this cruise, but we tried something different. Is we didn't do beach excursions or port adventures, as Disney calls them. We did different ones, and overall, after this cruise, like agreed with my family saying that this probably was our best port excursion, port adventure cruise we've ever taken. The first one in Cozumel, in the past, we've done dolphin encounter, dolphin swim, dolphin this, dolphin that, and absolutely loved that. This time with us being platinum castaway status, there was one excursion I was really gearing up for, and it was the first thing I did as soon as the window opened up. I heard good things about it on a couple other podcasts. It's called let me give you the official name. It's an Alabreje painting workshop inspired by Pixar's Disney's feature film Coco, and for everyone out there, that's CZ95. So what that port excursion is broken down into two different trips in one. The first one is we went to this facility that had a bunch of little alberjes that were pre-painted with a base coat, which I'm very thankful that they did that. And then they talked to us about the process and then gave us some paints. And before you know it, 45 minutes later, we have our beautiful little spirit animals, learning about it during the whole process, two different kinds. The room was gorgeously decorated. They had examples there of some of the ones that other people have made locally. They talked about the more colors you add to your spirit animal, the more powerful it is. It really was a blast, and I absolutely loved it. I highly recommend it. If you could get that excursion, I would absolutely do it, hands down. It was amazing. It was only up to 18 people. There was basically a few tables of 6 in this small little air conditioned room. They basically walked you through, gave you all the different paintbrushes, got a couple different animals to choose from, and they let you go. And the scary thing is they wrapped it all up, and I'm so glad they all made it home safely. We carried them onto the plane. We did not check those at all, and they are now hanging, or I should say, resting in our living room area in the built-ins.
That's awesome.
And that one I did not tell my daughter or my wife that I booked it until we were almost going on the cruise. I really wanted that to be a big surprise. And ironically, that actually fell on our first night of Coco, our Plaza de Coco. So it was a real great whirlwind of experience for that day, because while we were getting dressed, we put the movie on before we went to the restaurant for the first time. So overall, it was just an awesome day. The second half of that excursion, we went to the Mayan Cacao Company. So we went on about a 45-minute walking and talking tour of the Mayan culture and learning about how they made chocolate. We then got to sample chocolate, and then we went and bought a ton of chocolate to bring home and enjoy.
That's awesome. That's a really good day.
That was it was a lot of fun and great memories. And now we have these spirit animals that we get to check out every day. We're in the living room, so I was really pleased that I was able to get that excursion and then got to experience it. So I would highly recommend anyone that's going to Cozumel and it's open, you want to try something a little different, you will not be disappointed.
Yeah, that's great.
We did a Theme Park Thursday live on our YouTube last month, where I could not think of the name Alabrahi, and so I'm grateful that I probably just said it wrong there too, but it doesn't matter. But thanks for saying that. But really, what I think I couldn't say on that live last month that just made me think of it now as you were talking about it is there is an emotional connection people have to Coco that. Yeah, it's about family. It's about, there it seems obvious, but at the same time, I feel like it is so deep in people that so many people don't realize how strong of a connection that movie gives them. So even just talking about that experience, you feel like, wow, you really feel the emotional connection of that. And it's amazing how that movie brings these things out in the places the IP is appearing little by little.
Absolutely. Yep. It's all about
Yeah.
making family memories, Lise.
Yeah. And I feel like it's also it's something you wouldn't think would be an excursion on a cruise. Like you you hear that especially the first half of it is but that's, the power of Disney creating. Yeah, that's awesome.
Because even I have swam with the dolphins in Cozumel. So, I mean, like,
We have pictures to prove that
me too. We might have to put that on our Instagram. We needed a reason, and here we are.
Here we are.
That is really cool. And yeah, I guess that would be a question I have too, just in the excursion front, real quick. Is our excursions must do? You kind of implied that they were, but what qualifies as yes, this is an excursion our family will do?
Yeah. So a couple things factor in is the number of ports. I forgot to mention after Grand Cayman. Sorry, we also stopped at Jamaica. So looking at the way the itinerary is laid out, you basically have 3 consecutive port days. So originally I did book 3 port adventures all through Disney, and then talking more and more with everyone, we wound up just making Jamaica a ship and sea day, and just kind of got off the ship and walked around the port, which was very, very nice. They have this beautiful love locket wall right in the port area there, where you go and put lockets on, and really beautiful looking wall. And what was awesome about it was the way the ship was docked, I was able to get on the floor, and through the heart of the locket wall, I was able to get the Disney Cruise Line funnels. So I got this really memorable photo of Jamaica through the locket wall, seeing the funnels. But that's just a photographer in me. But to get back to your original question, I kind of look at also how long you are in port. So like example, our Georgetown or the Grand Cayman, because it is a tender, the length of time you're at port seemed a lot shorter than the one before it and the one after it. So our port adventure didn't start until 10:30, and had to be back on the ship. I think it was 4 something or 5 something. So I'll also look at the length of time, how long you're at port, to see if it's worth something. And then if it's something new to experience, I know a lot of people love going to beaches. How do you pick which beach? On a cruise last year, we went to Joss Van Dyke and Megan's beaches, and those were just absolutely stunning beaches that you would never get to experience anywhere else. Just the water, blue, crystal, beautiful sand,
Yeah.
soft on your feet. So I kind of evaluate the port to see if is something special there. Like, oh, they recommend doing snorkeling. Well, we're not a huge snorkeling family as we get older, maybe. But if you're just putting your feet in the sand, also we'll look at the distance. So let's say you go to a port, but then your port adventure is 4 hours, but you're spending an hour each way in the bus to get there. Well, is it or on another boat? Is that going to be worth it? You mentioned earlier on, you talked about your motion sickness. So
Mhm.
getting off the ship and then getting onto a smaller boat, higher likelihood of having your nausea issues on the smaller boat. So
Right.
therefore, you're not going to maybe want to do those port excursions. So
Yeah.
I kind of look at each port individually and then look at the number of ports on the entire sailing to evaluate uh, what I think is going to be best for the family. Because they are tiring, but they do make it special also.
Yeah. No, and that all makes sense. And uh, being on the fantasy for, well, it would have been 2 years in a row, but kind of back to back for our Disney cruising life, at least, that we stayed on the boat during the last trip, and I feel like I have done some excursions in the past, and I'm kind of always back and forth about them, but hearing this one, I'm like, maybe I need to pay more attention to the excursions and see what's out there. You did mention though that night, then you were in the Coco dining uh, portion of the ship. Can you tell us more about that?
Yep. So that was the first night in Plaza de Coco,
Mhm.
which was just really just awesome. We were seated a little further from the stage, so sometimes it was a little hard to hear the music.
Mhm.
But the first night, I felt like the music uh, was perfect for the background.
Mhm.
They had Miguel was meeting was let's see here. So it was on the first night, the story of Miguel and his familia gather in the plaza to enjoy memories and music, kind of where they left off in the movie.
Mhm.
So during that night, you get to meet the mariachi band. They play a lot of beautiful music to the background of you enjoying your first meal there.
Mhm.
It's the details inside the restaurant and while you're walking down so there's a long corridor to get to all the way back in the aft where the restaurant's located,
Mhm.
and there's just beautiful little designs, little pictures, pictures of the songs, the lyrics, just so much little details about the movie. That's why I highly, highly, highly recommend watching the movie at least once before you go to kind of refresh your
Mhm.
memory.
Yeah.
Um, the food that night was outstanding. Both the nights in Plaza de Coco really just awesome food, Mexican influenced. There really was no bad dishes. A lot of stuff. We got a couple little different vegetarian entrees, like a butternut squash enchilada that
Mhm.
was outstanding. The appetizer, they had this goat cheese tower that was extremely tangy, which I really love. I like stinky cheeses. I like blue
Mhm.
cheese, goat cheese, and then they had a chorizo croquette as an appetizer that I probably could have just eaten about 15 of them if I would have been allowed. And I know a lot of people are wondering what is the bread option at Plaza de Coco. And yes, you do start with chips and salsa.
Yeah.
Nice.
So always a
Awesome.
big plus to start any meal with that.
Yeah. And I'm tangenting slightly here because you mentioning the mariachi band. Did you One of the things we really liked, especially on our 2022 trip, was how easily you ran into characters and the character experience and the presence on the ship. Did you feel that you could turn a corner and see somebody at any moment, or do you feel like they were kind of corralled a little bit more?
I definitely felt throughout the entire sailing that there was a lot more opportunities to just run into any Disney characters, and they were two special characters that are on the Disney Treasure, known as the Treasure Seekers, and those are Sage and Coriander. Those are two basically improv actors that will run a good amount of both adult and family oriented activities on board that are special just to the treasure. And I felt like anything that they were involved with, we really tried to go to. We saw them a good amount just walking around the ship. But besides other characters, absolutely, you would turn the corner and run into Minnie, Mickey, Donald, anyone from the Fab Five. We ran into Stitch a couple times, Chip and Dale. I felt like because the cruising is longer, a 7-night, they definitely did have a lot more activities to fill those times. And then one thing I really noticed was they had a lot more photo opportunities. So in the past, based on the length of the cruise, I would purchase the I would pre-book the unlimited photo package. And the reason why I would do the unlimited is for a couple reasons is first and foremost, if let's say we never saw a photographer before the last night, I can go to Shutters and cancel or downgrade the package to whatever photos I want and get a refund or a disc or a change in price based if I wanted just 1 or 2 photos.
Okay.
Also, a lot of people ask, sometimes the unlimited photo package is booked for day 1 and I have to book it on day 2. What does that mean? Well, that means nothing. The unlimited package is for as the second you walk on the ship to when you get off the ship. So do not be worried if the unlimited photo package is not available to day 3. So basically every night in the Grand Hall, no matter what, if you were in main dining or second dining, the 545 or 815 dining, they would have 3 or 4 different magic shots and photo opportunities basically every night. And they would rotate. One night would be a Moana themed. One night would be a Haunted Mansion based on the Haunted Mansion parlor. One night there was it was formal night. I have a list, and when I looked back, I was actually shocked of the number of photo opportunities. Now those lines, just because there was a lot doesn't mean the lines were short. Those lines were still very, very long, but they were offered before and after your dining, so you could judge how long the line was and drop in and get some good photos. There's also great photos on Castaway. Also, there were some photographers walking up and down the beach. So we got some photos in the water and got some photos sitting on the beach also. So that was one thing that I was really impressed with was the amount of photo opportunities that it really made buying the unlimited photo package well worth it. And just for price reference, I did write down here, if you pre-book it, meaning before you went on the cruise, it was $295 versus $349 when you're on the ship.
Yeah.
It's just FYI, so you save some money by pre-booking it.
It's a good tip for Jen, who's been on 3 Disney cruises, and me, who've been on 2 and haven't done that before. And then we forgot to do it completely on our last cruise.
We walked off our last cruise going, oh no, do we not have our picture?
And it was over.
Done. Yeah. But it's a good tip.
It's a very good tip. And I think a lesson to both of us.
Yeah.
The stage shows, it's Moana and Beauty and the Beast on the Treasure.
Yep, and Disney Sees the Adventure. So the one thing that was different in on this cruise that I haven't seen before was they actually offered the Broadway shows 2 nights in a row. So the first night was Disney Sees the Adventure, which is the shortest in length of the 3 Broadway shows that are being offered. So if you don't know if your kid's going to be able to make it through one, I think it's between 30 and 45 minutes. It's one on the shorter end. And also know that while they are playing it in the Walt Disney Theater, they are also showing it on your TV in your stateroom. And the reason why I say that is this was the first time our bags did not make it to us before dinner. So we actually, after dinner, headed back to the room to actually unpack and we threw it up on the TV to watch it. We have seen it before on the Wish, and it's quite similar. So I didn't feel like we were going to really miss anything, but I did want to get to watch it. And then you had the Tale of Moana was offered 2 nights in a row, and then Beauty and the Beast was also offered 2 nights in a row, and then to kind of even up the crowd on one of those 2 nights, there was a magician in Sarabi, which is kind of like D Lounge when you were on the Fantasy,
Mhm.
and the other one was a ventriloquist, which was offered on a odd night also. So kind of even up the or spread the amount of people that were going to go to the Broadway show. So we did the extra entertainment, as I'll call it, the first night, and then went to the Broadway show the next night.
Which show is your favorite?
Uh, Out of those three, Beauty and the Beast is still my favorite. It's
Mhm.
one of my overall Disney Cruise Line favorite Broadway shows. Tale of Moana was excellent, and the amount of detail that they did. It is different from the movie, which I really liked and appreciated. I don't want to
Mhm.
throw out too many spoilers, but it is outstanding. The line to get in, even though the second night was all the way down to Skipper Society, people lining up still super early to get into it, and Moana herself was just outstanding. She definitely stole the show. The way the dancers act like the water, it really was beautifully done. And then Disney kind of talked about the 13-foot puppet of Tafiti. Really just awesome way to end the Broadway show. Just absolutely stunning. I would definitely get there early, definitely get a great seat and enjoy it.
That's cool. Yeah, I was curious about Moana in stage form, and have been trying to stay away from the spoilers, as if I'm going on the Disney Treasure sometime soon. Which Palo Brunch, you did that on day 2. Can you compare, contrast to other Palo brunches?
Yep, we had an amazing server named Anna from Serbia. Palo brunch is excellent as always. Way too much food. This time we tried a couple new dishes. We've had a couple favorites, but I like to mix in some new stuff. So we actually did a very interesting middle course where I ordered a zucchini frittata, and then for dessert they have a warm cinnamon bun. So I actually paired those together as a course, which I was very pleased I did, because the savoriness of the zucchini frittata went extremely well with the sweetness of the honey bun, or the warm sticky bun. That was outstanding. My wife always gets the Palo Bloody Mary, which by far is the best Bloody Mary on the ship. The base that they make with the tomato and spiciness, like I could just drink that by itself. It's
Yeah.
absolutely delicious. For the pizza, we always politely ask for the hidden pizza. It's a grape and gorgonzola pizza that is sweet and tangy at the same time, and we got half of that with a margarita. So we kind of split that because I just wanted to try the plain margarita. And for the entrees, we did the ravioli and the chicken parmesan. We were so stuffed at this point, we actually did not do anything from the dessert menu, and then they just rolled us right out into the rows.
Yeah.
Which
Right into the elevator. All right. See you later, guys.
yes, and then
Yeah.
you're stuffed and happy for hours. But yeah, well, I absolutely love Palo brunch on basically any Disney Cruise Line ship. I know this is Palo Steakhouse versus Palo on the original 4,
Right.
but brunch at any of them is just outstanding, and it also gives me the chance to not miss a rotational dinner. I know a lot of people like to replace Pirate Night if they don't like Pirate Night or a different night. I like the brunch because I don't get to miss anything with dinner.
Yeah, I know Jen was concerned about the FOMO and the jealousy like creeping in during this podcast, but man, the Apollo brunch lifted me right there. Just did it. I was like, oh, the Bloody Mary, oh, the pizza.
Mhm. Yeah.
Oh, dang
That did it.
it.
Yeah.
No, pretty good. The other, just to talk on the other two restaurants, right? There's a Marvel themed, and then
Mhm.
is it?
Yes,
It's 1920. I was gonna say 1928.
1923.
It's
Mhm.
1923.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So the 1923, the first night is the same menu that's on the Wish.
yeah.
1923, which has a beautiful burrata mozzarella appetizer. And then there's a 1923 peppered filet mignon that is just absolutely stunning. And now typically we'll order the lamb's side dish potato. It's a potato dauphinique, which is excellent. The only thing different from the Wish and the Treasure is that they moved the churros from 1923 to Plaza de Coco, so you'll get to enjoy those on one of your nights. But other than that, it's the same menu as the Wish. That's absolutely delicious. For as far as Worlds of Marvel, that is again just basically the same exact menu as the Wish and the Treasure for the first night. And those nights, I typically enjoy the chicken schnitzel and the ricotta and gnocchi. And my wife loves the golden mist pasta. It's a buttery, savory pasta with scallops. So
Mm.
those are our kind of to go tos for Worlds of Marvel.
Did you prefer the Coco de Plaza on this one?
So the second night of Plaza de Coco was
Oh, sorry, I said it
hands
backwards.
down the best,
Mm.
the best not the best the best menu from head to toe
Mm.
was the second night at Plaza de
Mm,
Coco. Let me grab that
okay.
menu real quick.
What'd you say? Coco de
I did
Plaza?
a malaprop there. It was Coco de
Yeah.
Plaza.
You're just changing names. Okay.
It's, it's also my cruise ship performer name when I
Yeah.
go. And let's introduce Coco de Plaza. Oh my
Yeah,
god.
the second night they had a beef empanada, which is different
Mhm.
than the beef empanada that's offered on the embarkation day. It had a little tomato, onion kind of salsa to put inside the empanada while you're eating it that just
Mm.
made it life changing. Also for dinner, they had a outstanding sea bass and a beautiful carnitas dinner that had some nice soft flour tortillas. You got to make your own little tacos, and then the desserts is I think what put me over. They had that was the night of the churros. Then there was
Mm.
a cappuccino creme brulee cheesecake. Two
Oh,
beautiful desserts put into one. Can't
yeah.
say no to that.
Yeah.
And then the no sugar rice pudding. I don't know
Mhm.
why, but I just love me some rice pudding. Um,
All right.
so
Yeah.
hands down, that was probably the best menu for the 7 night sailing.
Yeah. That's amazing.
Christy, Aquamouse during the trip?
Oh.
Yep, my dog. Yep. So typically we would do that on embarkation day because we like to get on the ship as soon as we can. But unfortunately, they were doing some painting and touch ups, so they
Mm.
didn't have it open till 4:30. So
Mm.
instead, my daughter and I went on Spinosaurus Rex, the smaller, not really kiddie, but I would call it kiddie water slide about 15 times in a row because there was no line. So as long as your legs could carry you up all those stairs, we went on that. So we did. I think we did the Aqua Mouse a different day. My wife and daughter actually went on it while I went and got some pool chairs. But typically, yes, we would go and try to ride it as many times as we could before it gets too crowded.
Chris, you're not up at 4 a.m. getting pool chairs, like doing
No, I
co-part
am not. No,
tactics.
no, no, I do get up and get a breakfast for everybody, but I am not up saving pool chairs. No, no.
Now Aqua Duck versus Aqua Mouse. What do we think? Is there
So I like the Aqua Mouse because there's really no stairs.
Mm.
And on the longer cruises and even the shorter cruises, they're going to rotate the shows every day. But
Mhm.
is it really a ride or more like a very short ride versus the Aqua Duck?
Right.
that's a long quasi roller coaster ride the whole time. So
Yeah,
I prefer the Duck because it's more of a
mhm,
ride the whole time. But seeing a new show was fun.
that's
Or
cool.
I'm hearing it through my wife and daughter.
Now, just to wrap up here on the treasure, because I do want to talk about your three night on the Wish. Is there
Mhm.
details, little nuancy things, something where you turned a corner? Like you talked about the Great Hall. I think that sounds awesome compared to the
Mhm.
atrium. But is there some little detail that every time you walk by, I'm like, you're like, this
Yeah,
is this is it.
there were three things that I put into the core memory bank, as I like to call it. Was first was there was a Encanto celebration, which was a onboard activity where at first we did a butterfly arts and craft.
Mhm,
Then there was some trivia. Then there were three songs that everyone got to sing. The kids went up on stage and played some instruments.
yeah,
Last song, there was a long Congo line, and then bam, not to play spoilers, but there was two special characters from Encanto that came out. And then after, we got some great photos of both of them with my daughter on stage. So that was first time we got to experience that, and I would absolutely label that as a do not miss. Do not
yeah,
miss. If you see it on your Navigator app, heart it, go
mhm,
to it. You will thank me later. The second thing was a jungle cruise,
mhm,
which was done in the Grand Hall. Uh, Sage and Coriander each picked a cruise ship, or a jungle cruise ship, and you volunteered to be in it, which my daughter and I were in one of the ships together, and we basically went on a jungle cruise with our skipper, doing different tasks to get different points to see who can get to the finish line first. That was a lot of fun, a lot of improv going on. And then the last thing was on the previous two ships, we did the royalty. So on um, the Dream, I think we did the Royal Court Tea, and on the Wish, we did Olaf's Royal Picnic. And then on here, I was very lucky to have seen it. It's called the Adventure Tea with Royalty, which is with, again, Sage and Coriander. And there's a couple princesses that come in. Not going to spoil it, but it
mhm.
was by far the best royalty experience that I felt Disney Cruise Line had to offer. You have to have a child that's 12 and under, or 3 to 12, in order to do it. Unfortunately, adults can't just do it themselves. And
Yeah,
it was done in 1923, so there was a good amount of people, and it was actually offered twice on the sailing. So if you have a child in that 3 to 12 range, outstanding, really, really good.
that's awesome. I feel like your cruise, I can't believe it was like only a week because you've done excursions, you've done all these ship activities, you did the Palo brunch. I'm like, you got so much done on this cruise. Awesome.
Yes, yes. This was a lot of fun. I really tried to make sure we steered ourselves towards treasure specific offerings. I
Yeah.
wanted the family to get to experience that, just in case uh, it might be a while before we're back on another 7 nights. So I wanted to really maximize the time on the ship, that what the ship really had to offer. And I felt like we did that. There was a couple things that I mean, there's so much to do every day. It's almost impossible to get to everything. So we tried to maximize as much as we could and had an absolute blast. Looking back, I think when on debarkation morning, when we're in Marceline Market having our last meal on the ship, besides crying, we tried to talk about, hey, what do we think? Where was this for our number of cruises? So this was
Yeah.
my wife and I's 14th, and this was Brooklyn's 11th or 12th. And I would easily label this as my top three cruise. The first one would be my wife and I's honeymoon on the Fantasy,
Yeah.
and the second cruise would be my daughter's first one. She was under 3 on the Disney Magic, and
Mhm.
it was just amazing. I have so many great little character photos with her, and I put this one right there, number 3, with how outstanding the port adventures were, onboard activities, the new restaurants, just the theming of the ship. Just really, I mean, I can't wait to go back. But I would highly recommend getting on the ship if you can.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah.
What's funny is, again, as we let in, like I love cruising, but it is those first couple of days that are rough for me. So, the second time that we went on the fantasy, I was like, I don't know when I'm going on a Disney cruise again, the
Mhm.
price point and how I feel, and when am I getting the bang for my own personal buck is
Mhm.
really, the kid is definitely getting the bang for the buck. I don't know if I'm getting the bang for my buck, but I'm hoping that I'll find some relief here. But the offerings of the Disney Treasure, that's the ship that more than the Wish, more than
Mhm.
what they offer on the Treasure has my attention more than anything else right now. But you provide a great segue here in terms of, you don't know when you'll be on a 7-night again, because in February you were on a 3-night Disney Wish cruise out of
Mhm.
Port Canaveral as well. I struggle with this, because to me, I feel like, will I, not that I won't get my bang on my buck, it'll just go so fast. I feel like, how can you differ, you personally, when you do the 7-night, and then like knowing that the 3 nights just goes that much quicker? How do you balance it? That's what I want to know.
And before you answer, Chris, because I will say for you, Frank, it
Yeah.
also, like, unless this relief band,
Yeah.
not a sponsor, but willing to talk about it, unless this relief band helps, it takes you like 48 hours until
Yeah.
you're like, okay, I'm enjoying the cruise now. And
Right.
like, so a week-long cruise is usually your sweet spot, just to give you that
Yeah,
time.
the ramp
So
up. Yeah.
yeah, sorry, Chris, go ahead.
Now you do have to start your medication before you're on the cruise.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
like
Yeah.
being have you tried the scopolamine patch?
Yeah. I've tried it all.
The transfer. Okay.
And it's really
Yeah.
unpredictable. There's sometimes that I feel way better, like, but this again, then I'll have something like I just had on the fantasy in
Mhm.
August, where I would, the second day, and
Yeah,
I'm not drinking, I'm not doing anything crazy.
yeah.
I was out the whole
Mhm,
day. I just slowly descended in the morning, and I was gone for the
mhm.
majority of the day.
Yeah.
So I think to answer your question on the 3 nights or even 4 nights, I have found my family's sweet spot is right at the is at a 5-nighter. I think
Mhm.
Mhm,
that's perfect for us as far as um, days away from home, stuff like that. So
Yeah.
the 3 nights, what I personally enjoy is I like getting on the ship as soon as I can. So we've kind of found that little niche with Disney Ground Transfer,
Yeah.
and
mhm,
we know where we want to go. Like as soon as we're on the ship, we're up to the pool. My daughter has her bathing suit on. We're in the pool on the Aqua Mouse. Lunch doesn't start till 12. Uh, get a great get a great seat by the pool or actually in a shaded area. And I think just one thing I love doing is once I connect to the ship's Wi-Fi at the port,
mhm,
I'll scan through all 3 days, just hardening anything that I think my family at all is interested in. And then that morning, going through it again and to see really what we want to do. But
mhm,
also, the other benefit of hardening it in the app is if you have your notifications turned on, it'll send you a reminder about 15 minutes before so you could determine what I'm doing now
mhm,
versus what I can be doing. And that way, you minimize your risk of FOMO.
mhm,
Yeah.
But I think a lot of times on the short cruises, we sleep less, get up early, do as much as you can, but
mhm.
also prioritize. I know what we really do live vicariously through our kids.
Yeah.
So going to a trivia where I could possibly win a medal, or seeing smiles on my daughter and my wife's face while we're eating
Mhm.
soft serve for the 15th time today, yeah,
Yeah,
I'll pick the soft serve. I,
yeah.
Yep.
I'll skip the trivia. So I feel like I kind of know what everyone's wishes are, and
Mhm,
we're able to either adjust on the fly, or sometimes you just run into that character. We're a big Stitch family. We have
mhm.
a little Boston Terrier that reminds me of Stitch all the time. So we are a Stitch family. Uh, from beginning to end. As you see right here, we have my Halloween stitch that talks and our Christmas stitch. So, you never know what you're going to run into on the ship. So I plan as much and then just be extremely flexible, lower your expectations because you're not going to be able to get to do everything, and just make those memories, like, from inside out, make those core memories that you'll be able to look back and remember.
Yeah.
So
Do
hopefully I
you?
answered your question there. I might not have. I just went on a crazy tangent, but yeah, those 3 nights, they're gonna go by real quick.
Yeah.
You'll probably look back and then remember stuff that you totally forgot. But I would just say you maximize exactly what you think you want to do and just enjoy.
Yeah. Do you think, I mean, kind of going back to the excursions from earlier, will you lean into an excursion with a 3-night, or do you kind of take it easy on the 3-night cruise?
Yep. So I would do 2 things. So if this was the first time on the ship
Mm,
and the ship is the excursion, then I
yeah.
would probably stay on
Yeah.
the ship.
Mhm. Yeah.
Maybe get off and explore the port, walk around, get that that magnet that you need for your fridge or that
Yeah.
Starbucks mug. But if it's if it's a ship you've been on many times, let's say it's the Fantasy, and you guys been on
Mhm.
it a number of
Yeah.
times, and now you're going to a new port. So let's
Mhm.
say like a Puerto Rico, or I mean, look out, you're definitely going to get off and explore. But well, I don't know. But let's say it was a new port that you've never experienced, and the chances of you not going back, then yes. So what I would
Mhm.
do is I would do 2 researches on the port. I would do Disney excursion research and then do a competitor like a Trip Advisor or a Viator, and see what the most popular excursions are in that area, and then kind of see what your family likes. So
Yeah.
that's how I would evaluate a new ship versus a new port.
Yeah.
Yeah. That makes sense.
No, this 3-night wish, it fascinates me. And again, if I'm not who I am, because Jen and I, we like our quick 36,
Mhm.
48-hour Walt Disney World trips. We're not afraid just to go down to Orlando, go to the parks, come back home.
Yeah.
So the idea of that in cruise form is
Mhm.
interesting, especially that it includes, as your wish trip did with Castaway Key, because that's how I can get Mrs. Dillo to go. But that is no, it's just interesting. And yeah, taking it all in is really, I think,
Mhm.
where my, not, it's not concerned, but like, ooh, can you really get the time to take it in
Yeah.
and enjoy it for what it is?
Yeah.
But no, it's good.
Yeah, I do feel like that, especially if you're looking at just the 3-nighter on a Wish. Majority of the time, everyone's been to Nassau, so your Nassau
Mm.
becomes a second
Yeah.
sea day. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
then you really only are at Castaway, and everyone
Everyone.
loves Castaway.
Yeah.
You just love the barbecue and the beach and all that. So you really then have 2 full sea days, and there's tons of offerings during Nassau because they know that a majority of people will stay on. So there's definitely a good
Yeah.
amount of activities to do, and I like that it's over the weekend. Honestly, because you're
Mhm.
not really missing too much. If the kids have like sports activities, yeah, you're probably missing a game or something. But as far as work, like the 3-night is really great to
Yeah.
disconnect from the world. Like
Yeah.
3 nights, nothing really is going to be needed at work or at home or anything like that. So you're able to really maximize unwinding versus on the 7-nighter. This was the first time we ever bought the internet package. That
Mhm.
way we could be in touch with people at home and FaceTiming them and stuff like that every day, a couple times a day. So that was the first time we ever bought the internet package. Otherwise, we kind of just unwind. And
Mhm.
and I think the 3-night gives you the opportunity to really just relax. It does go by quickly, but I mean, there's no better day than being a day at sea.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure.
No, that's awesome. Chris, thanks for talking to us about especially the treasure, because I've been fascinated about the treasure since
Mhm.
all the announcements started coming down, a year and a half, 2 years ago. So like we were saying, DCLCruisingDad.com, DCL Cruising Dad on all all the social media places. Just go find at DCL Cruising Dad and do the follow. But to say, I mean, you got a trip coming up in August, so now's the time to follow and check in with you from time, because you got a nice little lead up here with your mother-in-law
Yes,
on the
yes.
first trip.
Yep, I'm very excited. This is the first cruise we're taking with my mother-in-law. So this
Yeah.
is going to be a multi-generational cruise. We're going to have my mother-in-law, who I dearly love. Yes, I do get along with my mother-in-law. All those people that are thinking out there, why are you taking your mother-in-law on the cruise? No, I love her. She's like my second mom. Then my wife, and then my daughter. Like I'm excited. I'm super excited about trying to plan some surprises for them. Obviously, I'm not going to say anything on the podcast because they do listen to the podcast. But I'm very excited to be up for the challenge. I mean, this is what Disney Cruise Line is made for. It is made for the multi-generational sailing where everybody gets to kind of do something that they want on a vacation, and you only have to unpack once.
Yeah. No, I love that. And I love your outlook on the cruises, and I love how much you enjoy them. Like your enjoyment of the cruises. I mean, I love the Disney cruises, but because we grew up with the parks, like, we'll lean a little more parks than we will cruise sometimes. But seeing your love for cruising, I get it because of the parks as well. But I love to see that. Yeah.
Well, Chris, thanks for taking the time, and I hope we do it again sometime, and sooner than a year and a half. We'll,
absolutely. I'm always down to talk anything Disney Cruise Line.
Awesome.
All right. Thank you, Chris.
The Dillo's Diz podcast is hosted by Frank Cardillo and Jen Cardillo-Snyder. Music produced by Matt Harvey. Logos and video production courtesy of Snidillo Studios. Dillo's Diz Resort is our Patreon, with tiers starting as low as $1 per month. You can visit dillosdizresort.com to learn more. Follow us on TikTok, Instagram, X Twitter, and Facebook at Dillo's Diz. Check us out on YouTube by visiting youtube.com/DillosDiz. Don't forget to like and subscribe while you're there. We also have merch available on TeePublic and Etsy. For all this and more, visit our one-stop shop, dillosdiz.com. Dillo's Diz Podcast 2025.